welcome to my dungeon. This is my basement. This is where I do my microgreens, and that is what today's video is all about. So I'm going to go over why we do microgreens, how we do microgreens, and then we'll go through a step-by-step of every step of microgreens. So a few questions I get a lot are, why do we do microgreens? So we do microgreens because, well, this is all the space that it takes. So this is one 4-shelf little shelving unit, and that's really all the space that it takes. And I can grow several trays at a time, and they take about 2 weeks to get till they can be eaten. So that's pretty much the fastest out of any other plant. The next reason is they are up to 40 times more micronutrients in these than there are in their mature counterparts. So to put that into perspective, this right here is a giant bowl, like the size of my head, of cabbage. Okay, so that is only like a third of a cabbage. But this one little microgreen, so let me pull one out right here. This one little microgreen, this big, that's it, just this, has more nutrients than that entire bowl does. So I don't know about you, but I'd rather eat this one little tiny piece that's, you know, that big compared to that entire bowl. That's it. So now when I say micronutrients, I mean vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, the whole 9 yards. More in that one little tiny one bite than there is in that entire bowl. So that's one reason. Well, that's two reasons, I guess, because the size of how much I can do. The next is you can have a very large variety of what you can grow with how quick. So I use a mix, and I will post pictures. This mix that I use is called a basic salad mix, and it's got kale, broccoli, cabbage, arugula, and kohlrabi, whatever that is. And that's just this basic salad mix, so it's pretty easy to just put it all on here, grow them up, and then you have just a full-blown salad. Pretty simple and easy. Now, microgreens are pretty easy to do. And like I said, we'll go step by step. The biggest reason that we do microgreens is I can harvest it and eat it within 30 minutes. And unless you have a garden, you're never getting anything that fresh. So I can harvest all of today's microgreens that we're gonna have for dinner. And then I can make dinner, and then we can eat it. And within that half hour, they're not losing much nutrients. So most of us know that anytime you get fresh vegetables or fruits, as soon as you take them off or you harvest them, they start losing nutrients. And the sooner that you can eat them, the better. And I have read studies that say even spinach, you know, everybody says, oh, eat spinach, it's so good for you. Well, within 2 days of it being harvested, they've already lost all of their micronutrients, and then they actually start taking nutrients from you to be processed to be able to eat it down. If I can find that study, I will post it right here. So let's flip this around. Let's get into what you need and the step-by-step ways to do it. So we'll be back in a second. Okay, so to get going on microgreens, you need a place to do it. You need full spectrum grow lights. You need a little fan. You need your soil or substrate of choice. You need your seeds. You need some trays. You need some fertilizer, and you need water. So I get my seeds from True Leaf Market. This is a 1-pound bag, I believe. I've been using it for about a year. I did stop for a while during the summer, but about a year. This is a 1-pound bag. I think it was like 16 bucks or something like that. I will put a link right here, or I will put a link in the description, but I will put the a scroll of the website right here. They have tons and tons and tons of options of microgreen seeds. They are one of the main places that most people get their microgreen seeds. They're very well known. They've got great customer service, all kinds of stuff. I do have a coupon code, I believe. If I find it, I will put that in the description below with the link to the website. Now, I got these specific seeds. So this is the basic salad mix, and I got this specific one because it has broccoli microgreens in it. So broccoli seeds or broccoli microgreens, from my research, is the most nutrient dense microgreen that you can get. So a lot of people do peas, a lot of people do all kinds of other stuff. You can see there's hundreds and hundreds of different ones that you can do, and that's great. But I do the one with the broccoli in it. Well, we like broccoli and it's really good for you. So next you need your trays. So the trays I have are not for like commercial size. A lot of people have these really big trays and they're the ones that do this like commercially, and they've got, you know, they sell it, all kinds of stuff. The trays I have are from Amazon. Again, all the links for everything I use will be in the description down below. But these ones are quite a bit smaller and they're pretty perfect for like family size or, you know, 2, 3, 4 people. So this is what I use. I bought a pack of 10. These came in a pack of 10. And they did not have holes. So I drilled holes in 4 of them. And I'll show you some of that in a minute. And then the rest of them do not have holes, and I'll show you why in a little bit. So the next you'll need is the fertilizer. Again, link in the description. This one specifically is like 1/2 ounce per gallon of water, so that's a lot. And then this bucket will probably last me in my life. And then your water, and I think that's it. So I use coconut soil for my soil. I buy a brick. Actually, I think I buy a 5-pack for 20 bucks or something like that. I don't know. It's all in the description. It's pretty simple to do. You just kind of stick it into a bucket and pour in water. So let me show you. Okay, so here's my bucket. It's just a mop bucket. And you put in the brick and then a gallon of water. There is still part of the brick in here. I can feel it, that it's not completely you know, opened up and not compressed anymore, but it will. Once I get down to that point, I'll just add a little bit more water and then we'll be good to go. So here is my seeds. I'll let you see. So True Leaf, the basic salad mix, and then this is everything that's in it. The kale, kohlrabi, cabbage, broccoli. So they all have a really good germination rate. They're all from the US. These are not the organic ones, but they do have organic options. This is the trays. So this one does not have holes. This one does have holes. And like I said, I drilled these myself with just like a drill bit. So you can do that as well. And then I made these little like plastic beads. If you have little glass beads, that'll be perfect. So you just put those in the 4 corners, and that will help leave some space between the one with holes and then the one without, so that you can get some roots growing down in there, and so that you can feed from the bottom with water once you get roots down in there. And then that will be our cover. And then we got our water and our fertilizer. Fertilizer we're not going to need yet, so we're going to put that back, but let me show you how we do this. Okay, so here's my setup. Sorry, this is going to be a little weird. It's the only way I can hold my phone and do this at the same time. So we're going to take this top tray that has no holes and we're going to set it aside. And then this is our tray with holes, so this is where we're going to put in our dirt. So that's a little leftover dry dirt that I had. We're going to put that down first. And then we're going to put down our wet dirt. There are some that can be done hydroponically or without soil. I have not gotten into that yet, but those don't typically include stuff with broccoli. I think that's more of the peas or beans that can be done that way. I haven't dove into those yet, but maybe sometime this summer I'll look into those a little bit more. Almost. Just want everything to be even, but we also want to keep it below this line. So when we go and harvest, I use scissors, and you want to make sure that you're not going to get any of the dirt in when you harvest. So I just kind of keep that low. You still want, obviously you need it there, but you want to keep it low. Now I just take my one that we put off to the side, press everything down evenly. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to go ahead and level out these little bumps. Okay. Now a quick spritz with my handy dandy pressurized. Alright, that's good. Okay, now I use this little bitty bowl. It's just a little glass prep bowl, and that's what I put my seeds in. You'll see a lot of people weigh their seeds, but again, those are the larger trays, the bigger, you know, they do a lot of quantity of this, so they keep track. I don't. This is just for me and my family, and I know how I like it. So I make sure I put extra in, and then this is how I seed my trays. There's nothing special or scientific about it, but I do the edges first. And if you get too much in one area, just move it around with your fingers. It will get moved slightly with the tray that we put on top anyway, so nothing too crazy. But you want it to look like a well sprinkled cake, kind of. It's kind of what I like to refer to it as. But that looks pretty good to me. So I'm just going to go ahead and spray it one more time. Just lightly, make sure everything's a little bit wet, and then I put the lid on like that. So here's what it looks like from the side. So tray with no holes, tray with holes, and then the top tray with no holes as well. So that's what we're looking at. And now for me, because I do this in my basement, this is going to go on a heating pad. So let me show you that. Okay, so this is just a regular throw heated blanket, and I'm only doing this because we are in my basement and it is currently less than 60 degrees in here. So yeah, that's not ideal temperatures for microgreens, which is why I use this heated blanket. So this is a, right here, auto off in 3 hours. So I turn it on high, in 3 hours it turns itself off, and then I come and do that twice a day. Now, that's all fine and dandy, but let's see the product. So here are microgreens. These are about 2.5 weeks old. They are ready for harvest. I will put up a little thing right here that shows what you're looking for. So you can see all of these have their 2 leaves. They got 2 leaves, and they've got their good stem. They do not have their true leaf yet, but they will probably in the next few days. So, all right, so let's talk about this. This is my full spectrum grow light. It is, obviously you see the 4 pieces, but the best part is right here. So it has a 12-hour timer. So I turn it on, I turn the 12-hour timer on, it turns itself off in 12 hours and then turns itself back on 12 hours later. And then you absolutely need a fan. So the fan's going to do a few things. It's going to help make sure that you don't get mold, because you see how thick these are. There is probably a couple hundred microgreens in each of these trays. So it gets super thick, and then obviously you're feeding it, watering it twice a day. So you want to make sure that they're not getting moldy. So the fan is going to help a lot with that. Keep the moisture down, or keep the mold down with the wind. If you're doing this professionally, again, you're going to have several trays. You're going to have a lot of water in here. You're going to want a dehydrator, or not dehydrator, dehumidifier. I only have these 2 trays, and I do have a humidifier or dehumidifier right out in the other room, so I'm not worried about that at all. Okay, so we started the tray. What's next? So every day I'm going to come down here and water it, morning and night. Just a little bit of spritz of water. You want to make sure that it's wet, but not too wet. I know that's, you know, funny to say. How do you know what's wet and what's too wet? You will know. You will find out. You will see little fuzzies. Beginning of little fuzzies is not bad, because plants do have little fuzzies anyway, but you don't want like crazy amount of mold fuzzies, none of that stuff. And I will post a couple pictures here of these as they were growing. I took pictures to show, you know, kind of what each day looked like. Once you see the top tray looking like this, you're going to want to take the tray over and flip it over so that it looks more like, this. So then you're going to want to make sure that you get all of the seeds off of here, because they'll already be started. You'll be able to see them. And then you'll put it like this, and then once you start seeing this pop up, that's when you're going to want to put them under the light. Now, the reason we do that is because we are trying to get them to grow as tall as you can, so that you actually have something to harvest. So you see these here, you see some here are much more taller than others here. They're gonna do that, that's fine. But if you see like these ones here, you see this one right here? That's not like something you can harvest. That's tiny, that's not even over your line. So that's what we're trying to prevent. So you want them up here, so when I come in with the scissors, you're actually getting something to harvest. Now, this is about a week and a half old. Again, my times are going to be quite a bit longer because it is 60 degrees down here. Their ideal temperatures be like 70 or 72 or 75 even. So these take a little bit longer, but it's where I have to do them, and they do really well down here anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. I did have a little mishap right here. That was my fault completely, not the seed's fault, nothing like that. So the next thing I will say is to watch your fan. So you see how this fan's angled up a little bit? Because if you angle it down, right here you can see it's all laid over. And they got a little too dry, and they got the fan blown on them, so they just kind of felt over. They're still alive, but they will be harder to harvest, and it just doesn't look as good to have it looking like that instead of like this. Now, you see how these are all starting to curve this way? We'll turn this around, and then they'll all start going back towards the light again. That's another way to get them to grow a little bit taller. Alright, so I just went ahead and flipped that, so now they're going to start leaning this way towards the light, probably in the next day or two. But there is something I wanted to show you. So you see these right here. That is the seed pods. So those you don't really want in your food. So now you're going to ask, well, how do you get them off all of these several hundred plants? Well, here's what I do. I come down here in the morning and I water them. And then I go like this. And they may not all fall off the first day, but 2, 3, 4 days of doing this, you're not going to have many left. And then some of them, like this one, I just pick off. It's not going to hurt you. They don't even taste bad. They're actually, you know, no really taste to it. It's just the seed hole. but some people don't like them. A lot of it will come off when you wash them too, so I don't worry about that too much, but I do like to stress them out a little bit and give them a little bit of a windstorm, and makes them a little bit stronger and a little bit tougher, so not a bad thing. Alright, so that's everything that I can think of at the moment about microgreens. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them down in the comments below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Anything that I can think of, I will post up right here as the videos are going, so that you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I mean, that is really all I can think of. I know that's a lot of information for one video, and microgreens are great. I'm telling you, I love doing them. I don't even like vegetables, and I will actually eat these. I mean, I can eat one of those, and instead of eating a whole head of broccoli, that's a win-win situation. And if you get your kids involved doing this and let them help water them, they may be more interested in eating them, so that could be a win-win for you as well. They do take some time to get figured out, so figuring out when to water them, how much to water them, when to fertilize. I only fertilize like twice a week once they start getting roots down in the bottom. So let me show you that. So once you start bringing them up here, and even a little bit when they're down there, I like to pick this up and spray a little bit of fertilizer. So you see all those roots coming through? That's what you want. So I spray a little bit of fertilizer water down there to help bring the roots down to finding down there. So when you're feeding down here, you don't have to spray over the top. So that really comes in handy, especially when they're this size, because spraying them all through the top and letting that water go down and then into the soil and then to the roots is just, you know, that's a lot of water. So to be able to just take a little bit of water and pour it right down in there and let the roots get to them, that's perfect. So I fertilize twice a week down here at the bottom, once a day. And then same over here. So we don't have a ton of root growth here, but I'm sure underneath the soil is a ton. But even just watering down here, and then it goes up into the bottom of that tray, and it gets the water that way. That's really my favorite way of doing it, and the best way to do it. So you can get that fertilizer directly to those roots where it's needed. I do use these jars. So this one's water, and it sits next to the water. This is a spray of my fertilizer, and then that one is got fertilizer in it as well. And then this gallon back here is actually my mixed fertilizer. But I keep everything right here, so I can grab it, water, put it back, and then I'm done. So in the mornings and evenings, I'm literally only down here for a minute, maybe two, get everything situated, turn on the heated blanket, water those, and I'm done. It's super easy. Let's talk about harvesting. So what I like to do is right before I'm starting to make a meal that I want to use the microgreens in, I will come down with my kitchen scissors and I will just chop. I will just snip, snip, snip right across that black, right across the top of the tray. I will just snip, 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 get what I want, you know, a handful, 2 handfuls, whatever we're going to do, whether it be in salads or the side dish or in potato salad, in whatever you're going to use it for. Just snip, snip, put it into a bowl, take it upstairs, rinse it out a little bit, dry it out, and then that way it's dry by the time you're going to use it. So that's the quickest way, the fastest that you're going to have from vegetable to your plate and into your mouth. A lot of times we actually don't even use lettuce. We'll just use microgreens and then cucumbers and carrots and whatever else goes in it. If this helped you, I really hope it did. Please give it a thumbs up. Please like and subscribe if you would like to. Leave a comment, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.